would like to extend a thank you on behalf of Tima Kurdi and her family. A lot of our local community and global community has reached out to share their condolences, their support, and their love. Although Tima couldn't respond to all of them, she would like to say thank you.
Has asked Nisi and I to speak on her behalf. I want to tell you a little bit about the 3 angels that have passed on. I've known Tima for a very long time. She's a close and dear family friend of mine. When I heard the news, my heart shattered for her. I rushed over as quickly as I could to be there for her and her family through this difficult time. I've never met Alan, Qaleib, or ریحانه, but I've heard many stories through Tima and her son Alan. Qaleib, age 5, was named after Tima's father. Tima's brother Abdullah asked for her permission to name his son Alan after her son. Tima shared a story with us and the world about a banana. A banana is just another fruit to me, and I'm sure to you guys as well. But a banana was Qaleib's favorite fruit. But because of the circumstances of being refugees in Turkey, it was financially difficult for Abdullah to buy them food on a regular basis. But he would make it a mission to always buy 1 banana and split it in half for the 2 boys. Abdullah told Tima that he wants to go next to his sons and lay there and buy a banana every day and split it and put it on their grave. These boys were your average 3- and 5-year-old boys who only wanted to play with toys. They heard stories about Europe and the endless amount of toys available. They didn't have the means to purchase any toys, let alone food in Turkey. Their parents could only think about the next meal. One day, Qaleib spoke to Tima and asked for a red bicycle. Tima still remembers that conversation and the joy in his voice. When these boys were ready to cross the river, their beloved mother and father were excited. Their boys were excited for toys. Alan was oblivious to what was going on, but Qaleib, because he was a little bit older, was a little bit frightened by the water. ریحانه was a 27-year-old beautiful woman. She was afraid of water. She had spoken to Tima prior to the trip about her concerns. She told Tima, "I'm afraid of the water. What if something goes wrong?" It was only supposed to be a short 30-minute boat ride across. ریحانه was petrified of crossing, but her desperation for the survival of her family surpassed her fear of the water. Tima still has family spread out in the Middle East who are suffering. She will not give up the fight to bring them all here. Many people have asked to make contributions. We have set up a page online, a crowdfund page, at GoFundMe/Kurdi family. Alan, Qaleib, and ریحانه will forever be remembered in our hearts.
But Alan Kurdi woke up the world. His body on that shore is the outcome of our silence. Millions of refugees, Kurdish, Arab, Christian, Yazidi, and other minorities have been crying out to the world. But nobody listened until Alan's little body surfaced. Tima, with the help of Findan Ali, began the formal process of bringing all her siblings and their family in early 2015. However, due to financial constraints and a complex application process requiring numerous international documents, she was forced to do one at a time. The first application was done on behalf of her older brother, Mohammed, and his family, and with the intent to submit Abdullah's application in next. She gathered a group of sponsors, including family and friends, her beloved neighbors, and they filled out a G5 refugees private sponsorship application. It was rejected in June, as it was impossible for her family, like many other refugees, to get the necessary documents that would satisfy the Canadian refugee entry requirements. Some of the documentation required for this process included a Syrian passport, which a lot of Kurdish people had difficulty obtaining, a Turkish work permit, which simply was not available to refugees. Without the documents above, Mohammed's application was formally denied. The same week, in desperate measures, Mohammed left for Germany, as they had opened their borders for refugees. When Abdullah learned about his older brother's rejected Canadian application, it became clear that he had to find other means of survival. There was no hope in collecting appropriate paperwork required for successful entry. Our system is designed to fail these refugees. Canada has promised to let 10,000 refugees in over the next 4 years. That doesn't even make a dent in the amount of refugees who need our support. It is too late for Alan, Qaleib, and ریحانه, but it is clear that the Canadian and international community needs to do more to help these refugees. They are human beings. They are like every single one of us in this room. They are not pawns in a political game. This is the wake-up call that Abdullah was referring to. This is what he meant when he said it's time for the world to wake up. It is a wake-up call. Alan, Qaleib, ریحانه, you three angels woke up the world, and please forgive us for letting you down. Tima's son, Alan Karim, I'd like to invite you up here for a few words.
I'm deeply saddened by the events that have occurred. The past few days have been very tough on my family. We are so grateful for having such caring family and friends who have supported us through this great ordeal. The situation and what we have been through is nothing new. We just happen to be the chosen ones to raise awareness about the ongoing problem. The young boys and mother didn't deserve what happened to them, just like all the other refugees who faced a similar fate. The boys were too young to understand how bad the reality was. They were like any other children who wanted to play with toys and have fun. Some of you might know, little Alan was named after me. From what I've heard, he was a very happy boy who always had a big smile on his face. His brother Qaleib was named after my grandfather. Qaleib was fond of his younger brother and loved to play with him. When my uncle married ریحانه, he became a much happier person. And after having two wonderful boys, he felt like he was the luckiest person in the world. Despite the tragedy, we would like to look at the positive impact that came out of this event. Alan became the symbol of this refugee crisis that finally opened the eyes of the world. We as humanity must take action and open our arms to the ones in desperate need, in order to make a change in the world that will lead to peace and freedom. Rest in peace to Alan, Qaleib, ریحانه, and all the people who have suffered from this crisis. Thank you.
I would like to share with you another poem written by Terry Hopper. It's called Alan Kurdi, Tears for the Little Kurdish Boy. Don't turn away and hide your face. It's not the time, it's not the place. Look at me, stand and stare. Lifeless and listless, do you care? My only crime was to be born 3 years ago in a place war-torn. My short-lived life, my mother's tears, hopes and dreams destroyed by fears. And as the world turns inside out, back to front and full of doubt, my picture goes around the earth. Government decide what we are worth. An immigrant or a refugee, is that what your eyes can see? Human beings, we are not the same, being used as pawns in a political game. For now my life has ended here, on a beach somewhere, so far, so near. Close to freedom, a promised land, as waves crash over, covered in sand. My life cut short, my screams lay still. How many more take that bitterest pill? Don't let my passing be in vain, for I was one of many who came. And as you lay your head for sleeping, and hear your child who's gently weeping, remember me awash the deep blue sea, no mother's arms to comfort me. Take a moment, maybe 3 or 4. Think of those displaced by war, for a better life, peace and care, a world where everyone can share. So as I lay here in the surf, my life cut short, 3 years since birth. My name is Alan. Please don't label me. I was a child, not just another refugee. I'd like to invite Tima up here. She'd like to say a few words. Are you okay to come up?
Thank you everyone for coming, for all the support. I don't know how to express. I think you guys all seen it on the news, and I've been talking about them for the last few days. Qaleeb and Alan and ریحانه, they shouldn't die. When Abdullah was single, he was really going to get married and settle down. He went to Kourdani. That's where we have a land there, olive tree. Usually in the summer, we go there to look after it. He fell in love with ریحانه, even though he was 11, 12 years older than her. She's my cousin. I remember him phone me and said, I want to start my life in Kourdani. I want to marry and have kids. But I don't have enough money yet, because I want to start a business as a barber, also in Kourdani. I don't want to be in Damascus. That's almost the beginning of the war. I did help him. They got married. And then Qaleeb almost gonna get born. They were worried. She cannot go to the hospital in Kourdani. So she has to travel back to Merasm in Alawah. That's where Qaleeb was born. From the day he born, there was something in his skin. Nobody knows what it is. It's a black spot in his skin, always itchy. All this time they were in Kourdani. Even though Abdullah opened the business and he started working there, it wasn't enough money because people start to leave. That's during the war. So he decided the only way to make money, he should go to Turkey first and see if he can bring his son to the hospital in Turkey and find a solution for his skin. Abdullah was in Turkey for a few years, but the situation was some kind of difficult. He rather sent them the money to have some food in Kobani, and then when he can bring them there. I know he used to tell me, I'm worried about Khalid. I don't know why he bore him like that. I always talk to him in the phone, and he's crying, but I can never bring him to Istanbul yet. So I said to him, if the money is the problem, you can rent a place, and I can bring you there. We did. But it didn't happen until when ISIS start to invade Kobani. So the whole Kobani city was fleeing Kobani. ریحانه and Qaleib and Alan, they were at the border to cross to Turkey. I don't know what to say. Those kids, they never, since the day they were born, they didn't have a good life. And I feel sometimes guilty I didn't help enough. I settled them in Turkey when I went back last year. I bought them everything, not everything, but whatever they need. Pay their rent. And when I have sometimes extra money, I pay for food. I never met both of them. My last day to come back to Canada from Istanbul, they were at the border. And I was really, really upset. I could not see them. Because Abdullah always talk about them all the time and send me pictures. But I had a chance to talk to them, not to Alan, because he doesn't know how to talk yet, but to Qaleib. When I saw that picture, even though I never met Alan, I heard the news, of course, a few hours before. And when I saw the picture, this boy facing down, I said, this is Alan. I wasn't sure, but I was 90% sure. Until I have to send that picture to all my family. And they said, yes, it's Alan. When I have a phone number for Abdullah to call him, the first thing I said to him, I'm so sorry. It was my fault. Because I sent him the money to pay the smuggler and to cross that water. I thought if I didn't send him the money, they could be alive today. And Abdullah was saying to me, don't ever, ever blame yourself. From the day one, even before they born, You are the best sister in the world. And my kids, they drowned or sacrificed themselves to wake up the world. And he's so happy and so proud of his kids. This morning when I talked to Abdullah, I've been talking to him, of course, every day, 3 to 4 times, because we worry about him. He's alone. No family except the cousin back in Kobani, which is, we have lots of people there. He's not leaving the grave. He was asleep in the last 3 days there, on the ground beside them. I spoke to my cousin, which Rihanna's father. He was crying. He said, I don't know how I'm gonna live my life after them. Especially God. He raised me for 3 years. He said the 2 days before they left, one night, before they left, he called his grandpa and said to him, can you bring your truck here and take me? I don't want to go with them to the water. And he speaks Kurdish, by the way. And he said to him, why you don't want to go by the water? He said, how about if I fell? And I'm gonna have a blood all over me. And he said, don't worry, you will be okay. And he said, do you still have my toes back there? The grandpa said yes. So all of a sudden, his little brother laughing, which is he never cried, Alan, always laugh. He doesn't know how to cry. He was laughing and making noise. It was midnight in Turkey. And then he slapped him in the face to tell him be quiet, that donkey. In Kurdish, and he turned to his grandpa and said, I'm speaking Kurdish to him. So the Arabic people around us, they don't understand. I swore at him. That was the last phone call to the grandma. Thank you so much for this. I don't want to say anything.
Thank you very much.
So what we're going to do after this is, if you would like to join us, we're going to walk over to Canada Place and we're going to release these balloons together in honor of Alan, Qali, and ریحانه.